Hi and welcome back. We've been working on our sample site here, and so far we've gone ahead and created a number of sites based on a template that we created. And the last thing we actually did was we created this contact information form that's going to allow us to send our contact information from our website to our email. And we've hooked up the script. So the next thing that we need to go ahead and do is we need to upload this to an actual web server and then test the form to make sure that it works. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go ahead and close that. And we need to go ahead and set up our remote server. Now you're going to need to get whatever the connection information is for your particular remote server from whoever's hosting your site. And in another video, you'll see the ins and outs of registering a domain name and setting up hosting. But I've already done that, so all we need to do now is we need to actually tell Dreamweaver where that remote web server is. So I'm going to go ahead and come here to Files, and there's my Dreamweaver folder. I'm just going to double click right there. When I double click, this dialog box is going to come up, and this should be very familiar to you from the things we've done earlier in Dreamweaver. You'll remember we gave the site a name and chose the local folder for it. But this time what we're going to go ahead and do is click on Servers here, and I need to add a remote web server. So I'm going to go ahead and click the little plus sign here. And you're going to go ahead and fill out this information. And again, your host will give you this information. I'm going to go ahead and name the server Timothy Test, and that can actually be anything you want. More often than not, you're going to connect using the FTP method. And again, unless your host tells you otherwise, go ahead and use that one. My FTP address is the same as my website, so I'm going to go ahead and enter that in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in my username, which is Timothy Test, and I'll enter my password in. And go ahead and click Test there and see if it connects. If it takes a little bit of time like this, you may want to click Cancel. Eventually, it's probably going to tell you it wasn't able to connect. One thing that you can do in that circumstance, if you think you have all the other details right, is to click here underneath More Options. And I'm going to select Use Passive FTP. And then I'm going to click Test. And you'll see with the exact same information, Dreamweaver was able to connect much more quickly, and it gave me the message that I connected successfully. But again, this information should be provided to you by your host. I'll go ahead and click Save now, and you can see that remote server is listed there. If I wanted to delete the remote server, I could click the minus sign right here, and if I wanted to edit it, I could click the little pencil button right here. You'll see it brings me back in here. But at this point, I'm just going to click Save. And now we need to go ahead and put all these files onto our web server. Now, when you're communicating with your web server, you're going to use two different commands. One's get, the other is put. And what you just need to remember is get from the server or put to the server. If you wish to get files, to download files from your server, you're going to use the get option. If you want to put files from your local directory like we have here onto your web server, you're going to use the put command. Now, in my case, I want to put this entire site. So I'm going to go ahead and click this topmost folder here. That's my root folder that contains everything else. And I'm going to come over here. Here's my get and here's my put. And I want to, again, put all these files to my remote server. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Put. Dreamweaver is going to ask me if I'm sure I want to put the entire site. And the reason why Dreamweaver is asking this is if you have a site that just has maybe 5 to 10 pages like our site does, this won't take very long at all. But if you've got a very large site, many graphics, then that's going to take a while to put the entire site. So you may want to just selectively put whatever you've modified or use Dreamweaver's synchronize tool. And we'll see more about that in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and click OK because I do want to put the entire site to our server. And you can see the progress that's going there. And eventually it's going to just stop and your website will be on your remote server. As simple as that. So let's go ahead and see if we can see that. I'm going to go ahead and open up Google here. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my server. And sure enough, when I go to timothytest.com, there is the server, including the link to a contact page that I placed right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you're going to see it brings me to this location. I'm going to go ahead and type some information in here. We'll do Timothy, and we'll go ahead and select that as our phone number. And you can see the default values in there from when I tested this. This is going to be test, and I'll click send the monthly email. And when I click submit, if everything worked okay, that form to email script is going to bring you right here. If you click to continue, it will take you back to our front page. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you how to customize this page in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and go back over, forward, and we're back right here. Now let's go ahead and log into Gmail, and let's see if that worked. And I've got a shortcut right there for it. And sure enough, actually you'll see the one I did earlier, but there is my form submission. And you can see the way that's laid out there. So our form does work. And I'm going to go ahead and close that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and close our browser altogether. So in the next video, we're going to learn how to customize that page that comes up once the form has been processed.